please keep in mind that this is a tutorial for beginners. If you're an experienced developer, you might already know how to install all the required software, and you might also prefer other ways of doing it. For example, Linux distributions come with awesome package managers out of the box, such as apt, yum, and so on. But in this case, it's much easier to show people how to use other tools such as brew, so they don't have to deal with different commands or custom repositories in order to get things done. I'm also gonna leave the whole process there, including errors, so you can see what may happen during the setup process. Okay, so here we are in a brand new Windows virtual machine. Let's install some software. First of all, I'm gonna search for Visual Studio Code. We can download from the official website. The stable build is fine. And once downloaded, we can install it. This is gonna be a pretty basic tutorial, so I'm gonna follow all the default settings. I'm just suggesting you to check these options here because they're pretty useful in order to open files and folders with Visual Studio Code. And we can launch it. So here is Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna choose the dark theme, and I'm gonna leave everything as default. And now in the Extensions tab, I'm gonna install the Solidity extension. And while this is installing, we can go on with our dependencies. So next is Python. We go to the official website and we download it. We follow the default installation method, we confirm it, and we leave it in the background. Another dependency is Node.js. Here is the website, and as you can see, we have multiple versions available. I'm gonna go with the LTS, long-term support, but you can also download older versions if you need them. You can see that Python was installed successfully, and I also suggest disabling the path length limit. This can help with really big dependency trees. I'm gonna close this, and we can install Node.js. Another software that we're gonna need is Git, the version control system. We can download the version for Windows. And in the meantime, Node.js has been installed successfully. Now we're gonna install Git. And in this case, the setup wizard has a lot of options, but we're gonna keep everything really simple, and we just go with the default settings. And now let's see if everything is working correctly. I'm opening a PowerShell terminal, and I'm gonna run Git version. This seems fine. Node version, fine as well. npm version. And in this case, we also need yarn. But as you can see, yarn is not recognized as a name for a command, so it seems like it's not installed. It should be included with Node.js, so let's see what the website is saying about this. We can go to the Getting Started page, Installation, and as you can see, there are a few commands that we should run depending on the Node.js version that we are currently running. In our case, it should be core pack enable. gonna copy this and paste it here. And operation not permitted. This command must be run as an administrator. So I'm gonna open the PowerShell, but as an administrator. Now, if we run this command again, it works fine. We can run yarn now, and we get another error. This is not the same one as before, as you can see, and we also have a link that we can follow. This is a permission error, so we are not able to run this script because of the execution policies. If we go to this page, we see that we can change the option, and there is a lot of documentation about how to do it. In this case, I suggest you running this command in the common user terminal. set-execution policy -scope current user -execution policy bypass. And we are also gonna force this. This is the command that you should run. And of course, I'm the king of typos, so this is not the correct command. This is the correct command. Okay, so now it seems like it worked. Let's run yarn version again. And now it's working. Perfect. Now we need to install Truffle, and we need to install it globally. So I'm gonna use npm install global Truffle. And this is probably gonna give us an error too, but I want to show it anyway so you can know what to do in case you find yourself in the same situation. We can simply ignore all those warnings. And there it is, a huge error. But you should always take a look at what it's saying, because most of the times it's gonna tell you what to do. In this case, you can see that we have a comment here with a URL. Let's go to that website. Here we see that in order to use this package properly, we should have something installed on our machine. And the thing that we are missing in this case are the Visual Studio build tools. So instead of downloading them from here, since they are a bit outdated, I'm gonna search for it. And as you can see, there is an official website from Microsoft that allows us to download a lot of things. So the package that we are looking for is under the Tools for Visual Studio section. And here are the build tools for Visual Studio. We confirm this. And then we are asked to choose which components we would like to install. And if we go back to the page, we see that it's saying that we should install the desktop development with C++ workload. And there it is. So I'm gonna check this and install. This is gonna take some time, but it's gonna download and install your packages at the same time. So this is pretty cool. And this is done. We can close it. And now let's get back to PowerShell. We can now run npm i-g truffle again. No errors this time. It looks promising. The stuff that you see here, the vulnerabilities, are related to the warnings that you see up there, and you can just ignore them in this case. Now, if we run truffle dashboard, you can see that the command is running and the truffle dashboard opens up correctly. So, everything looks fine. Let's close some windows. And now we can download the collection project. I'm gonna open the Ashlip's Lab profile on GitHub. We look for the NFT ERC721 collection, and we can download the latest version. We extract this, and let's open the folder with Visual Studio Code. I trust the authors, so I'm gonna click that. And now let's run some test commands in order to see if everything is working fine. First of all, I'm creating two terminals, one for the smart contract and one for the dApp. And I go into the smart contract folder and I run yarn, so I can install all the dependencies. At the same time, I'm going into the minting dApp folder, and I'm gonna wait before running the yarn command because this is just a virtual machine, so the resources are limited. Okay, let's install the dependencies on the dApp side. And while we wait for the dApp to be ready, we can run yarn compile. This is gonna create all the TypeScript typings for our smart contract. And as you can see, it's also gonna ask us to send anonymous data to the art@ team. I'm gonna leave this to true. And it's done. Now also the minting dApp seems to be ready, so we can run yarn dev server. We have to allow Node.js to bind to some ports on our machine, and the build was successful. Let's open the URL here, and as you can see, here is the dApp. Of course, we don't have MetaMask, so an error is popping up, but everything is working fine. You should now be able to take a look at the other videos about how to use the project, because from now on, everything should be the same for any operating system.